The Seattle Seahawks defeated the New England Patriots 29-13 in Super Bowl 60. What were some of your biggest takeaways from this game and maybe even in general the broadcast?
I mean, the first thing I feel like you got to talk about the Super Bowl is the defense. Obviously, absolutely dominated the entire way through. It was actually a pretty good defensive battle for both teams throughout the game, until the Seahawks started pulling away. Of course, the only real offensive, surge for either team, though, you got to talk about it, is Kenneth Walker. I mean, he had a phenomenal first half. Didn't get his touchdown, but that's okay. Who needs one? He deserved that MVP so much because Darnold really did not get going until it was already too late. So I think that's just the big story from this is how good Kenneth Walker was in this game.
I mean, I will say that Kenneth Walker definitely is. I mean, he was more than deserving of the Super Bowl MVP and everything like that. But I would probably also say the defense for Seattle. I know we're
Mhm.
going to get into their defense a little bit later here, but just the dominance that they showed against Drake May and the Patriots. I almost feel like because the Patriots were playing so poorly throughout the postseason, it kind of takes away a little bit of the mystique of what the Seahawks defense was able to do. But this defense is all time. I mean, you got to think like one of the better defenses that we've seen, certainly one of the best defenses that we've seen in the last 10 years. I just felt like the way that they were able to suffocate the Patriots offensive line throughout that entire game from start to finish was super impressive. And as you mentioned, yeah, the Seahawks offense didn't get going for a good portion of that game. And you were able to win off of field goals. I mean, that's an unbelievable thing to say in the Super Bowl. And I just think you have to give it up to the Seahawks defense. And they scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's one of the biggest things I would say.
yeah, we didn't even mention Jason Myers. Record what, 5 field goals in a Super Bowl?
I thought Jason Myers' performance maybe would have been worthy of a Super Bowl MVP if they were all from like 45 and
Oh yeah,
beyond. But
yeah,
that just wasn't the case. So
yeah.
it kind of, I was like, all right, you guys are like talking online, talking about Super Bowl MVP for a kicker. It so happens that we've got like maybe as close as, we might ever get in our lifetimes to seeing that, but
Yeah,
it
I think at
wasn't
this
like
point,
he hit like a 62 yarder.
yeah, if he didn't get it, I don't think we ever will see a kicker for MVP. I could see like Cam Little. He would be the one to get it. I think Cam
I'm a
Little.
big Cam Little guy. I remember before the year, I was like, he's going to be one of the most important fantasy players you could get. He's going to change games. And I mean, the entire like kicking economy in the NFL has
Yeah,
completely changed,
you just
especially
saw
because
you
now you
saw
can get the
Cam
ball to 35.
becoming this superstar. You pulled a LeBron. You saw the
You
future.
pull, yeah. Oh, yes, I did. I did see the future like I was LeBron James. Oh my goodness. I almost didn't even get the exact reference that you were
It's
given
okay.
there.
Never did.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the game here a little bit more before we go into some of the other like legacy questions. Um, how would you say that this performance is going to be remembered on Drake May's side of this?
It's hard with a quarterback this young because like when we start talking about legacy and stuff, I mean, who knows? Uh, I think I think that Drake May will be back in this situation again. Obviously, a lot of people want to talk about the schedule. One of the weakest we've seen in recent memory. Uh, but overall, he just looked completely just outmatched by the Seahawks defense. I remember I was talking with some friends in the championships. Being a Broncos fan, I am very disappointed how our season ended. But we were locking up Drake May throughout that game. If I don't want to sound like
I would agree. I already
you
know
know
where you're going here. I would
yeah,
agree. If Bo
but
Nix was playing in that game, I know the weather was crazy, but
still looking back, I might not have said it during, the championships and the Super Bowl if my Broncos made it. I think either team from the NFC, Rams or Seahawks, would have completely, steamrolled. I do think though, if the Broncos were in, it would be, a tighter game, tighter score line than we got. But I still don't think we would have won that match. The Seahawks are just so well rounded, on both sides of the ball. Their only real problem, obviously, is turnover. Sam Darnold, leading the league this season. But when it mattered most, I mean, no turnovers the entire postseason. I that's how you win in the playoffs is you stay healthy, and you don't turn the ball over. And you can say what you want about Sam Darnold. He didn't have the greatest game of his career. I kind of felt that going into this. Obviously, I don't really think he's this top tier quarterback, but he did what was required, and the defense helped him out. And I think for Drake May, I think this is definitely going to be a stain on his legacy. But he's so young that I'm not going to sit here and say like this is going to ruin his career. I know a lot of quarterbacks, they lose their first one, they don't make the Super Bowl. I think Drake May will be back. I do.
So I'll hold off on like exactly how I feel about Drake May specifically, like going forward. But yeah, going into the because we're gonna talk a little bit about where the Patriots go from here. But man, I just felt like in this specific game, what you pointed out about the turnovers was so huge. Sam Darnold, not like a turnover machine in a sense, but he
Yeah.
had some real stinkers throughout the season where it was like, oh my goodness, if that shows up in the playoffs, that's going to eliminate the Seahawks, right? And it never happened.
Yeah.
But in this game, I just felt like the turnovers were absolutely the difference. And there was one when the Patriots started getting everything going, they had the ball back. They've got to score for sure. They've got to score touchdowns. That one like overthrow or like underthrow, how I don't even know exactly where he was going. The kind of fly ball that he sent to the middle of the field was just one of the worst throws I have seen in this postseason. And it was definitely more of a microcosm of this entire game where it just felt like what was even going on there. There was, of course, pressure on the play, and there just wasn't going to be enough. And it's not coming from the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking before this game, it could potentially be coming from the Seahawks. He also had a very elite stat pad ending to this game, which I feel like isn't really indicative of how he actually played. So I have to keep those things into account. I guess here we'll say one thing here. The Patriots defense held on for as long as they could. I think in a lot of Super Bowl blowouts, you kind of see that where the defense has been, but don't break on the side of the team that gets blown out. And they hold on as much as they can, and they do whatever they can. But when the Patriots came out of the first half, excuse me, and they didn't get anything going. They had a 3-and-out, and I believe they actually had two straight 3-and-outs. That's when I knew. I was like, oh, dude, they don't have an answer, and the Patriots defense isn't going to be able to hold up much longer.
Yeah, no, I mean the Patriots defense is solid, for sure. I mean, we talked about turnovers with Sam Darnold. There was like 3 close calls on it felt like
early.
Christian Gonzalez was all over the field. I thought he was going to come away with the ball like 3 different times. But it's a game of inches. Little changes, can change the whole game. And it just didn't work out in their favor, which is why I'm saying I don't like the Patriots at all, obviously. But I think that they will be back. It just depends on what they do this offseason.